Today, the world of cinema falls into a shadow of heartbreak. On the 23rd of November 2025, the legendary German actor Udo Kier, known to generations simply as Udo Kier, passed away at the age of 81. His partner, Delbert McBride, confirmed the devastating news, a quiet, private ending to the life of a man who built a career on roles that were anything but quiet, a man whose face could freeze an entire theater, whose voice could echo through nightmares, dreams, and the strange spaces in between. It is one of those days when an era ends, when the silver screen dims, when cinema loses one of its most unmistakable figures, a performer who existed outside the borders of Hollywood and Europe, outside the lines of genre and expectation. Tonight, we remember Udo Kier, the child born during a bombing, the young man who fled toward possibility, the actor who carved out a place in film history unlike anyone before or after him. Biography. The child born in ruins. Udo Kier was born on the 14th of October 1944 in Cologne, Germany, in the final violent months of the Second World War. Moments after he entered the world, the hospital was bombed, leaving baby Udo and his mother buried beneath rubble. They were pulled out alive, a miracle that would follow him throughout his life. He grew up without a father, raised by his mother in a Germany struggling to rebuild itself. As a child, he sang as a cantor and served as an altar boy, discovering early the power of performance, a kind of sacred expression he carried with him, even when his later roles became dark, surreal, or haunting. At 18, he left Germany for London, determined to learn English. He had no idea this decision would unlock the doors to an international career spanning 60 years, hundreds of films, and countless genres. Korea, the man who became cinema's most unforgettable face. Udo's acting journey began in 1966 with Road to Saint-Tropez, but it was the early 1970s that changed everything. With Flesh for Frankenstein and Blood for Dracula, Udo Kier became a cult phenomenon, the strange, elegant, mesmerizing face of European underground cinema. What made him different was simple. He was fearless. He played characters that felt vicious, tragic, seductive, alien, or uncomfortably human, sometimes all at once. Directors sought him not because he fit a mold, but because he shattered it. He moved easily between worlds. The art house legend became a favorite of cinema's boldest visionaries. Rainer Werner Fassbinder, Werner Herzog, Lars von Trier, Gus Van Sant, Dario Argento, Guy Maddin, Alexander Payne. They saw in him what audiences saw, a man who could bring poetry to horror, elegance to madness, fragility to villains, and unpredictability to every frame, the Hollywood chameleon. Even in big Hollywood productions, Udo stood out. Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, Armageddon, My Own Private Idaho, Barbed Wire, Downsizing, The Adventures of Pinocchio. Even if you didn't know his name, his performance carved itself into memory. The horror maestro. Across decades, he portrayed vampires, prophets, demons, killers, sorcerers, and uncanny strangers. He wasn't acting. He was embodying archetypes that felt older than cinema itself. The gaming icon. Gamers worldwide know him famously as Yuri from Command & Conquer. Red Alert 2, one of the most legendary villains in strategy game history. His voice alone could bend a scene to his will. The final curtain. In 2025, he made his final appearance in The Secret Agent, closing a career of over 220 films, a body of work matched by very few in history. Personal life. A man of truth and courage, Udo Kier lived openly as a gay man at a time when the industry was not kind to such honesty. But he refused to hide. He refused to shrink. He refused to apologize for existing exactly as he was. He moved to Palm Springs in 1991, building a life filled with art, plants, friends, and the peace he never knew in childhood. Cause of death. Udo Kier passed away on the 23rd of November 2025 at the age of 81. His partner, Delbert McBride, confirmed the loss, stating that Kier passed away quietly. His death was officially declared due to natural causes. No additional details were released in accordance with his lifelong wish for privacy. Net worth. At the time of his passing, Udo Kier's estimated net worth was approximately $4 million, earned from decades of film, television, voice acting, and global cult classic influence. Family life. Udo Kier had no biological children, but he lived surrounded by a chosen family: actors, directors, artists, and friends who loved him deeply. For him, film sets were family. The camera was home, and audiences across generations became the community he carried with him everywhere. Legacy and impact. The immortal cult icon, Udo Kier leaves behind one of the most mesmerizing legacies in film history. He was not just an actor, he was a myth, a presence that could transform a tiny role into a thunderstorm. He redefined eccentricity. He became the blueprint for the mysterious, the uncanny, the beautifully strange. He proved that cinema's most unforgettable characters are not always heroes. Sometimes, they are enigmas. Emotional tribute, ending the final frame. As the world says goodbye, we look back at the journey of a man who began his life in rubble and rose to become one of cinema's most unforgettable faces. The child who survived the bombing, the young man who left everything behind, the actor who conquered continents, the icon who embraced the unusual, the legend whose presence will echo forever. Tonight, the curtain closes on Udo Kier, but the films keep rolling, the characters keep breathing, and the myth endures. Rest in peace, Udo Kier. Your story will never fade. Top facts about Udo. Udo Kier was born on the 14th of October, 1944 in war-torn Cologne, entering the world only moments before the hospital was destroyed by bombs. Miraculously rescued as a newborn, he carried the aura of a survivor throughout his life and career. He went on to appear in more than 220 films, making him one of the most prolific actors of his generation. His work spanned continents and genres, and he became a trusted collaborator for many of cinema's boldest directors, including Fassbinder, Lars von Trier, Herzog, Argento, Van Sant, and Guy Maddin. Known for his unique screen presence, Kier became an icon of horror, surrealism, and avant-garde art, portraying vampires, villains, visionaries, and unforgettable eccentrics. Beyond film, he achieved legendary status in gaming culture as the chilling voice of Yuri in Command & Conquer: Red Alert 2. A villain fans still celebrate decades later. Mainstream audiences recognized him from standout roles in Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, Blade, Armageddon, Downsizing, and dozens of other television and movie appearances, proving he could shift effortlessly from cult cinema to Hollywood blockbusters. Throughout his life, Kier lived openly and proudly as a gay man, long before the industry embraced such honesty. He passed away on the 23rd of November 2025, and his passing was due to natural causes, closing the final chapter of an extraordinary life lived without fear or limits.